Ready? 5 seconds. Start. The technology to move courts to the virtual arena exists already but has not been exploited to its full potential. The global lockdown has, however, encouraged countries to consider virtual hearings more seriously. The UK, for instance, which already conducted virtual hearings in some tax and traffic matters, has taken regular suits online in this lockdown. Singapore has introduced such hearings in several regular matters across all courts level in a staggered way. In contrast, Indian courts plan to conduct virtual hearings only for extraordinarily urgent matters. The decision to move to virtual hearings requires vision and long-term planning. Our judiciary should treat this lockdown as an opportunity to re-envision courts as a service instead of as a place, as identified by Richard Susskind in his 2019 book Online Courts and the Future of Justice. A thoughtfully designed virtual courtroom will make justice accessible to those who could not afford it so far due to geographical location or lack of funds. This is a once a lifetime opportunity. Chief Justice virtual courtrooms will allow litigants and lawyers from any location to access courts anywhere else in the country without moving an inch at a fraction of the cost. Image the savings when you consider that a litigant need no longer pay expensive senior counsel fees or foot the bill for putting them up in a five-star hotel. Beyond the obvious cost benefits to litigants, huge benefits will also accrue to the judicial system as a whole. If designed properly, virtual hearings can help directly address the elephant in the room, case backlog and pendency. For lower courts, small cause matters, petty cases, minor traffic offences, check bounce matters are some types of cases that can be heard completely virtually. For higher courts, regular hearings could be piloted and gradually introduced. For SLPs, miscellaneous works and admissions, combine this with introducing strict procedural rules that limit the amount of submissions that lawyers can make and the amount of involve a gradual process, and this is a great opportunity to design a long-term solution. The judiciary also needs to shed concerns over security matters. Virtual hearings are a great tool to introduce transparency in its trust sense to the working of courts. After all, courts embody the idea of open justice. Reports of the government's reservations about security issues in certain services should not be an excuse to reject the advanced technologies available today. Fundamentally, our judges need to recognize that this technological revolution cannot be engineered by themselves. A clear vision and a well thought out plan necessarily needs experts. Sure, a judicial representative can be present, but the bulk of the designing, engineering, and customization must be done by professionals. The National Informatics Center, which provides tech solution for the judiciary, has long been stretched to its limit and operates with limitations on autonomy, expertise, and resources. For a country that is home to the best and brightest mind, we should be turning to the private sector for solutions. This must be combined with a recognition of the state of affairs on the ground. While many high courts have some advanced technological capabilities, the Supreme Court is lagging behind, and sadly, our lower courts still remain wanting. But we also need to recognize that this will not happen overnight. Stop.